Hello, this is Jared again from Yellowwood Guiding. This is video 2 of photo editing. So this chapter we're going to look at color balance and color enhancement. So we got our same image that we were working on before with our two elk. We adjusted the shadows and the highlights, the contrast, and the levels. So now what we're going to do is we're going to white balance this image. There's some really cool ways to do that, and there's a lot of programs out there that white balance it differently. If you shoot it in RAW, you can white balance automatically, but every picture might have a color adjustment to it. So one of the great ways to do that is you can use an eyedropper tool. Now if you go to the eyedropper and you hold it down, you get this color sampler tool. So we're going to select that. And what we're going to look for is a medium toned color somewhere on the image. And if you take this point at the very tip, you will get what the RGB readings are. So I'm going to bring this over here into the screen. We want to see what the RGB colors are for each point. So we got our point number 1, RGB. We want these numbers to be pretty close. So we want to find a mid-tone color somewhere in our image. Somewhere that's not too red, not too green, and not too blue. So we're going to look for a gray color if we can. There's a perfect one right there. Number 2. These numbers are all very, very close. So sometimes you got to search, sometimes you don't, but it's all about finding that mid-tone. You want to find these numbers so they are close. So once you got a point that you're going to be able to select, if you bring up that levels adjustment again, we're going to hit Control L. You can now select that middle one, that gray one in the middle, and we're going to set the gray point of our image. And we're going to just click right on top of that, and if you watch closely, the color is going to just slightly adjust. So you got a before and after. If you watch over here, our histogram numbers, they do change, but they didn't change all that much. So on this image, there actually isn't much of a color correction to be done, which is a good thing. Looks like we got it correct out of the image or out of the camera. So from here, now that we have it color corrected, we're going to hide this window. Now we want to go and we want to adjust the colors. There's some great reds in here. There was greens, and we want to bring those out. So one of the great ways to do that is with the hue and saturation adjustment. We're going to hit Control U in Photoshop, brings that up, and you can do an overall adjustment with the saturation. That's going to be the best way to go. Now again with Photoshop's all about being subtle. You can see where all these colors are. If you take out all the colors, you can actually make a black and white image. But we want to saturate the image. We want to make it a little brighter, a little bit better here. So we're going to overall saturate it maybe 20 to 30 points. That's a pretty good range. Sometimes you go a little bit above, especially if there's not much color in your picture. What's cool and what I love about this tool is you can select specific colors. So we've got reds here in this image in the main, we've got it in the body here, we've got some red back here in the background, in the foreground. It'd be great to bring out those reds, and when I select red, it takes red from a very wide range here, all the way into the oranges, and we're going to just take that whole spectrum and bring that up. Again, if you look at where is the red in the image, all that is what would be adjusted. So we're going to just bump that up just a little bit extra. You can do a preview before and after. You can see it jumps out just a little bit. The other thing that's really important to know about color editing is a lot of people take pictures of nature and they think it's green. But if you look at where this image is, there's a good amount of green here, and it is in the grass. But if you take a look at where the yellows are, generally nature is a very yellow spectrum. There's a lot more yellow in that picture than there is green. So if we bump up the yellow, we can actually alter the way the picture looks. And yellow is a very important aspect. We're going to talk about that here in the next little element. But we're just going to bump up that yellow just a little bit. Get a before and after. We're going to hit OK. Now, one great thing that we have here in Photoshop and a lot of other programs as well is something that you can put filters on. Instead of using the filters out in the field, you can go up here to Image and Adjustments and select Photo Filters. And these are the same types of filters you'd put on your lenses out in the field. And I wanted to warm this image up, and I always like to use an 81 filter, and that makes it a pretty natural light. Bring that down just a little bit, and it adds just a yellow glow to everything. It makes it look like it's daylight, it makes it look warm and sunny out there. and that's a great tool. Now if we wanted to cool off an image, we can make it cooler. You could use an 82. You can do some really cool things with these filters. If you're wanting to deal with sunrises or sunsets, we can add red, we can do emerald. There's all types of really cool filters in here. But generally what you're going to use most in wildlife photography is either the warming or the cooling filters here. Like that 81A, brought it down just a little bit before and after. So that's color editing. We white balanced our image, we increased the hue and saturation, and then we played a little bit with photo filters. So that's the basics of that. Next we're going to talk about resizing your image.